Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to the Sweetwater Minute. This time out, we have a special guest joining us. Tim Timmons is here. Good to see you, man.
Doctor.
Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you being here.
It's pretty great to be here.
Yeah, well, you're touring through the area?
Yeah.
Yes, you're playing here tomorrow night, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in the area?
Yeah. And so I any chance I can to come over here and nerd out with you people is the coolest. And literally, I'm building a studio at the moment, and
Nice.
so Alden is my man. And so we talk about every day.
Right.
So so I get to hang out and give him a big hug today.
Cool.
So
Cool.
you're fine, but Alden's kind
Well,
of
yeah,
the
I
dude.
mean, you want to be with the cool people.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get this over with so you can be with them.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope. Anyways, great being with y'all.
Yeah, man. Great to have you here.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
So, tell us a little bit about your story. You're from California originally. How'd you get into music and songwriting and that whole track that you're on?
Gosh, that is a great question. I don't know.
Yeah?
I started drums when I was 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that. I was on a plane the other day just writing about that. It was writing an interview, and I thought, what amazing parents that when I started hitting pots and pans and just, everything, I'd hit my head on my pillow every night because I was just drumming to beats that were in my head. And that my parents would actually buy a drum kit and let me play and make the neighbors,
noise.
Hate us.
Right.
It's pretty great. So I need to give them a call and just say thank you. And then from there, at 11, I started playing guitar and started writing songs and piano and just started teaching myself all this stuff. And then I was a worship leader for years, and which just means a guy who helps people sing their prayers to
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
And then all the while writing songs. And then I kind of gave up. About 5 years ago, I gave up trying to be awesome.
Right.
I mean, people ask all the time, like, "Hey, how'd you get signed by Sony? How does this, how does this happen?"
Right.
And I go, "You're gonna hate my answer, because I'm gonna say give up." I mean,
Right.
not give up on practicing and working on your craft and being the best that you were created to be, but just give up trying to be, trying to make this all about you. So I think my whole life I was trying to make it about Tim.
Right.
Somehow, it was building my kingdom. Maybe it was for God, but not really.
Right.
And it was just one of those seasons of giving up, saying I'm done trying to be awesome. And if there's a God, which I believe there is, and I know that I'm not Him,
Right.
then I want to know what would He want from my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of gave up. And then out of that, I was always writing songs. And out of that season, I did a big Kickstarter campaign and raised a ton of money and did a record in Nashville. And then every label came running, going, "Hey, Tim, you want to?" I'm like, "I'm old. I'm a dork. I'm over you people." And then this just made sense. And so this is where I am today, and I'm so grateful.
So your first album came out 2013.
Yeah.
And then last fall.
My first official
official
record.
album,
We
right.
all have 8,000 records. but
Right.
First big boy record. Yeah. Yeah.
And your most recent was last fall.
Yeah.
In October, correct? And have you been touring to support that then? Is that what you're kind of
so
out working
we had
at this
a
point?
ton of touring before last season. This has been a little lighter of a season. I'm actually building my studio right now. So it's a little lighter and being at home a lot more. I have a ton of kids. And a babe for a wife. And
Nice.
so it's been really great being home, actually.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell us about the studio you're building. What are you doing with that?
It's a dance studio.
Yeah. Plie and
It's kind of just, I do the worm all the time on the floor. It's really awesome. So Alden's helped me get some Orlex padding.
nice.
Just to do a lot. No, I'm just kidding. No, grew up in Orange County, California, and you can't really it's hard to buy a studio out there or buy enough space to actually have a studio. And so we just moved to Nashville about 6 months ago and bought a house with a big old basement. And so we've been I still have drywall on my fingernails. I'm like, we're going for it.
Nice.
And so we're double walling everything. And so I made a tracking room, really cool tracking room, and a really great writing room, control room. So.
All right. And is your intention to have that for your projects, or are you going to open it up for other projects?
My projects, and then I would love, we're trying to think through how we could, because I've got so many great drummers and players, and so how could we actually get people across the country or world that want tracks? So we're just trying to think through how we could do that well.
All right. So
It'll be great. My gear, thank you. Thank me.
Sure, right.
But thank Alden, I guess.
Yeah.
But the gear is great. Really excited about the stuff we've got going in there. So
What do you have going in? What's going to be the basis of the studio?
gosh, I have a lot of jokes that almost came out right there, but they'd probably be inappropriate. Some mirrors for dance.
Great. Okay, good.
Great mirrors. Man, I mean, there's API stuff. There's 5 API pre's. I've really been intrigued by the Kush audio stuff. He just seems intriguing. His stuff may sound terrible.
No, it's
but
awesome.
No, I believe it sounds terrible. But he's just so like intriguing in all his videos, and but all the reviews sound great on his stuff. So I got 2 of those tweakers. I've got some SSL, a bunch of 500 stuff. Got some BAE stuff.
Nice.
Some Vintech stuff. I'm forgetting a bunch of other pieces, but
Right.
yeah, just I'm excited. I think it's going to be really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Even just for a space, just to be able to write and then record what we've just written.
Right.
So,
Do you find that as a writer you need to go to a certain place to write things, or can you do it in a coffee shop, or does it have to be a certain location?
I get so distracted. So, you know, some of the writing rooms at my label, they have these writing rooms, or I'm also a writer for my company as well. And you'll go in and you hear guys next door writing a song. They'll be just beating away on the piano, and I just start singing their song. And I can't think of the song that I'm writing at the moment. I just get so distracted. And so I need some quiet.
Okay.
But I love co-writing. Co-writing is probably one of my favorites. I just think 2 people, in my experience, somebody else brings a different set of gifts than I do. I have a few unfair advantages that I bring into a co-write, whereas you bring a few unfair advantages when you walk into a room with certain things.
Sure.
And so why not put those together? So I've loved writing with other people. So that's partly why I wanted this room too. It's just a place where we could just have our own space and write and create.
Right. Right. So is it a different process when you're writing for yourself versus when you're at the label doing writing for, I'm assuming, other artists?
Yeah. From writing for other artists, you're trying to serve them. How do you serve the message they have been given? Whether it's like they have a breakup song, it's a country song, whether it's a pop song.
Right.
Whether I'm writing a song to get a pitch for a movie or a commercial or something. It's just all the aim is so different. Whether it's for my stuff, if it's for my stuff, I'm really particular, really anal about that stuff, which I think makes me a good songwriter in some ways. Lyrically, I'm a hound with my lyrics because I just can't stand a lyric that has been said before in such a trite way that makes you kind of feel like, okay, I've seen this movie.
Right.
It just has a different melody. And I think music can be such a part of a revolution. And that's kind of what I want to be about. So.
Right, right. So do you start with lyrics then, or do you start with the melodies or chords? Or where does it come from?
I'm a hook nerd. I hear them all day long. I mean, that's just what I'm hearing. So I hear hooks and melodies all day long.
Okay.
And so before we even start on lyric, I want the hooks to be great. I usually have an idea of what we're going into lyrically, but I want the melodies to be so good, and every little piece of the song to have a hook in it, something that you're going to remember when you go to sleep, and you go, dang it, can that song get out of my head, you know? But if that message then is just as good as the hook, I think you've got a great song, a song that's worth recording and spending time on. So I don't actually write a lot of, I will stop songs or just give up on songs that aren't really saying what needs to be said, if it's for me. For other people, I'm more lenient on that and let people express how they want to be expressed. But does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Is that something you've kind of developed through your career and through the process of learning to write? Did you start out and say, I've got to finish every song that comes out, and I write 100 songs a year, and they're all going to be finished? Or did you say, I'm going to write 100 songs a year, and I'm going to keep 5 of them that are great?
I've always written fewer. That's probably not true, not always. I've put in a lot of hours. I practice writing all the time. I practice a ton. And I'm always mining for melodies or mining for good hooks. Or I read books or magazines or watch TV and I'm looking for lyric hooks of what actually hits people. And why would somebody actually listen to this and want to sing this song? I mean, pop. Just think of pop. Some of the dumbest lyrics ever are in some of these pop songs that I was listening to on the way here. But the hooks are great. But these lyrics, they're still, it's somehow, people that are listening to it still feel like it's their lyric. And there's something to that. Like Bieber's new song, dang it, that song is so good. And lyrically, it's so dumb, but I think everybody's kind of felt what he's singing about.
Right.
And there's something wise about that in helping your audience sing your song and own it. You know. So in my arena, which is about Jesus, I don't want to just sing songs about Jesus. I want to help the people who are listening to these songs own their own response to Him. That's why I wake up in the morning, is to respond to God as if He is God and I'm not. And then I get to invite other people into that, and I get to use songs, which is pretty cool.
Do that through music. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So where does the production part of the process fit into that then? Do you hear the song as a fully produced thing when you hear these hooks, or is it just a melody and then it's got to grow from there? How does that whole part of the process
Yeah,
work?
I love, for me, I mean, it's different for every writer. Every writer comes in and has a different bent, and again, different gifts. And but for me, I don't hear the whole thing. I just feel this hook, and I go, dang it, that thing has not left me for a day. Or I'll be practicing, you know, when I practice writing, and then I'll find one. I've been mining, and I found a little piece of gold, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start building around that. So often I'll bring that into a co-write, or bring a few of those into a co-write. And if you listen to pop music these days, I mean, each of those have a few choruses. It's not just verse, chorus, or verse, pre-chorus, chorus. It's like verse, pre-chorus, chorus, second chorus that like lands the plane. Or, you know, in Sia's song, the Chandelier song, like the second chorus is like this real mellow piece right after the exploding chorus. I mean, it's so cool what you can do these days with just adding a ton of hooks. So I guess when I'm mining for hooks, I'm finding which ones go together. And then I just start adding beats. I always start with drum beats because I'm a drummer at heart, I think.
Right.
So that's how I start.
All right. So I guess I have to ask, how do you practice writing? Do you not just sit down and write, or is there like exercises you do, or how do you practice writing?
Yeah, dang it, that's a good question. And I'll probably have to stop saying practice. How do we practice writing? I mean, I don't think there are exercises that I go through. If you find out some of those, maybe I should watch more of your videos. If you just let me know if you know how to practice writing, let me know.
There you go.
Timmons music at me. Okay. No, I think I sit down there and I just start writing. But for me, it's not. I'm not setting out to write a song. I'm setting out to find great hooks. And then I'll like record them on my little phone or wherever I'm recording at that point. And then I can come back to those. But I think I'm just always mining. Mining is probably a better word than even practicing.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Do you work with a producer, or do you produce yourself?
I do both. The past 2 records have been with a lot of different producers.
Tell us a little bit about that. How does that work, turning your music over to a producer in some ways anyway?
It can be great, and it can be really hard.
Right.
My first project was with a guy named Paul Mabry, who is probably one of my favorite all-time drummers. I mean, this guy is crazy. He's in Nashville. He's an Aussie. And my favorite joke with any Australian is like, you know, talking about England. So that always goes over real well. Yeah. And any Brits, I'm like, hey, good day, mate. You know, I'd always try to, okay. That was wonderful. We kind of, I mean, he really, I gave him the songs, but more I gave him vision. This is what we're doing. This is what we're saying. And honestly, I found, I know I'm tangenting, but I found that's my bigger role, is actually vision.
Okay.
My role isn't necessarily in the whole process, just the songs, but it's like holding my label, keeping vision in front of my label of what we're doing. Not just putting out a record or radio singles, but like, what are we really doing that's driving these songs?
Right.
With management, you know, it's that. With booking, it's keeping vision in front of everybody. And I think there are times when I've done that well with producers, and there are times that I've not done that well with producers. And so Paul and I had a great experience. That first record was just incredible. He is a genius, and he's a drummer. I love drummer producers.
Yeah.
There's something real cool about them. Especially the ones that can also they understand that drums are not just terrible sounding instruments that should never be heard other than through behind an API and in some other control room, you know. But that it's a really musical instrument. It actually can be a musical. I love Paul talks about not liking the sound of just drums. And for an amazing drummer, like a great drummer who so many people love him, to hear him say that he doesn't love the sound of drums is like, you okay, buddy?
Yeah.
You know, that's what you do.
Right.
But you can hear it in how he plays. He plays them so tenderly, and it comes across huge. But he's not bashing them. He's got the pocket. He's got the, it's so cool. Yeah. Then I think that a lot of the producer stuff, it's me giving a song over and saying, here's the vision, but I've got something in my head. So there's a compromise of what I have in my head to what is in their head. And I think it's trying to figure out, how do you do that well?
Right.
How do you give and take in those places? When do you say, no, I think we can go a different direction? For me, I'm learning that I need to be involved in the process the whole time. It's hard for me just to give a song away and go, hey, come back with something.
Right.
So I think I'm learning.
Right. So I guess kind of approaching the same question from a little different direction, what about when you bring musicians in to work on the parts? What do you look for in those musicians, and what do you ask for them to bring to the sessions?
That's great. I've kind of worked both ways. I've worked with groups that know each other, and these are the guys that play together on every record, you know. And I've worked with the same guys, and it worked. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
I think it's finding the right guy that fits the thing that you're playing, that you know, that you love. This is what they do. Every drummer has a thing that they do. My drummer, Bryson Nelson, is incredible. I mean, I love the way Bryson drums. And what he does is amazing. Now you try to get him to play some other kind of stuff, I don't know, some like hard rock stuff, and that's just not his jam.
Sure.
And you'll go, hey, cool, man. But you get some guy that's rocker, that's what they do, and that's the guy that I think you bring in. But a great musician can do anything. But like you asked me to go play jazz in something or do some real cool jazz chords, and I'd pee my pants, number one, right there. It'd be awkward.
Sure.
Unless it was over the phone or something like that.
Right.
But it just wouldn't be the wisest use of your money to have me do that.
Sure. Sure.
So I like to choose the guys that make the most sense.
Do you give them a lot of direction, or do you throw things out and let them kind of give you their personality?
I think it depends on how awesome your musicians are. Because some of these guys, man, you just say, here's a song, give them the chords, let them hear the demo, and they will find their way through it, and you love what they do. That's why you're hiring most of these guys. Some of these people just are chameleons and they can do anything, you know. I think those people I give more direction to.
Okay.
But the guys that are more artists in what they do, I kind of just love to let them go.
So you mentioned demos. Do you do really complete demos? Do you just do kind of skeletal sketches? What do you do with your demos?
I do really complete demos, and honestly, I should not. So as a writer, I just was listening to one on the way here that I finished last night. And it's so produced that we're going for a cut for some other artists. And it's so produced that I should just do a guitar vocal. Honestly, I think it would sing. It would be much more not palatable. I'm painting it in a corner that it doesn't need to be painted because it's broad. It's a great song, but it's just going to be heard like this. So I'm kind of changing the way that I'm thinking about that a little bit.
So there's two kind of things there, right? It could be dangerous to present it too fully produced because then that's all they hear.
Yes.
Or if you go the other direction, there may not be enough to let them
hear
what's going on.
Yeah, because then other people can't. Because sometimes A&R people or publishers can't hear or feel the beat that's really behind that's going to make this thing feel great. So it's dangerous both ways.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure that out. So again, if you guys know how to do that or figured that out, let me know at timmonsmusic.com. Great.
Clearly you're doing very well with it.
Yeah.
Right, that's very cool. That's very cool. Man, I'm so glad you came in here to visit us.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up? What's happening after your gig here in the Fort Wayne area?
I'm going to go home and make out with my wife.
Nice.
Which would be great. Married 18 years.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I've got 4 kids, really young.
Wonderful.
A lot of them.
Right.
So,
keep you busy.
Yeah. We got twins on the back end of that. Nice. So that's when, you start saying bad words. I mean, they're just, they feel like 20 kids, and but they're so cool. So I'm hanging with them. I'm finishing my studio.
Will you start working on another album then when the studio's finished? Or how will you
ton
inaugurate
of
it?
writing.
Yeah.
A ton of writing. And we have a second single that's coming out really soon called Everywhere I Go. So that'll be fun. And we're getting ready to do some videos for that. And yeah, I have so many things. I have a cooking show.
Oh, I saw that.
One of those
Tell us about that. What's up with that?
chef people. I don't know. I love cooking. And more so, I love people. And I think what a great medium to hang with people and ask good questions and learn stuff. And
Right.
so if, I'll come in. It's called Timmons Pantry Raid.
Nice.
You really got to get the R in there.
Yeah, you got to get the R in there or
pantry
something else entirely.
raid. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun medium. I was given 5 years to live 15 years ago, and the cancer diagnosis and incurable and the whole deal. And they say I still have 4 tumors on my liver and it's wearing out my heart. That's what they say.
Wow.
But I woke up today,
Right.
and so I think I just kind of like I celebrate that. Like my son is a soccer player. That's a loose term, soccer player. He's 6, and we celebrate contact.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's some kids that are like dribbling through and like bicycle kicking the whole thing. We just celebrate contact. I mean, anytime it hits them or something, like, yeah, buddy, I know it got your nose, good job. But I celebrate just like waking up. So what's next? I don't know. I keep trying to figure out how to follow Jesus and what that looks like. And I woke up today.
Right.
And I get to hang out with you today, and then hopefully I'll get to play a show tomorrow night. And
Nice.
yeah,
It's an awesome perspective.
It is. It's the gift of cancer or any kind of calamity is perspective. I mean, it's like we woke up.
Right.
For some reason, we woke up today.
Right. That is something to celebrate.
It is something to celebrate. How cool is that?
Right. Awesome.
So I'll have another day.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you spent today with us.
Yeah, well, thanks.
So cool to have you here.
Thank you.
Come back and cook for me.
Done. Pantry raid
All right.
in
I
this
love
room.
to cook, so I'd love to see what
Really?
you come up with, man. I'll give you some chips and some.
We can do a
chicken or
pantry raid. I got to enunciate.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on over.
That would be very fun.
Cool, man.
Be careful.
Looking forward to it.
You heard it here.
Thank you, my friend.
Cool. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
I'm Mitch Gallagher. Thanks for joining me for the Sweetwater Minute.